Namaste. Good evening, everyone. Tonight we're going to continue where it was left off. Yesterday, Sita was abducted by the demon king Ravana, and she was brought to Lanka. She was brought to Lanka by Ravana, and hold on for a second. I need to check if everything is going okay. Gus! A little technical something. Okay. So, my husband is going to check on the battery, meanwhile. And as I said yesterday, we left off where the demon king Ravana had kidnapped Sita, and he had brought her to Lanka, to his palace, and he threatened to, if she didn't succumb to his wishes and become his queen, to have her for breakfast. And he gave her 12 months to think about that. So I'm going to start with the chapter where Rama is back in the forest, filled with misgivings. Sita and his love for each other was so great that even though they were parted, they were still in communication with each other, and he could sense Sita's fears. He walked as fast as he could. Suddenly, he saw Lakshman walking towards him with a troubled look. Rama went towards him and asked him worriedly, "My dear child, why did you leave Sita alone and come here? Did I not tell you to stay with her?" "You were right. That deer was indeed Maricha, sent as a decoy to lure me away in order to fulfill some evil design. And now you have also followed me, even though I told you to stay with her. Will my Sita be alive? If she dies, so will I." They reached the vicinity of the ashram. Rama went inside the hut, calling Sita to come out, but there was no answer. Only the wind rustled through the leaves. He ran out, calling, "Janaki, Janaki, where are you, my beloved? Why are you hiding from me? Why do you play with me like this? I am in no mood for games. Come to me, my darling. I cannot bear this any longer." At last he sank to the ground and murmured, "What I dreaded has happened. She has either been abducted or eaten alive." Lakshman stood by his side and said not a word. Tears were flowing down his cheeks. Turning to him, Rama asked, "I left her only because I had entrusted her to you. Why did you leave her and come?" His voice choked with sobs. Lakshman said, "When she heard Maricha's dying voice, imitating yours, she went into a panic and begged me to go on your aid. When I refused, she spoke so harshly to me that I couldn't bear it. She accused me of being your enemy and lusting after her. Even then, I refused to move. Then she threatened to kill herself, to jump into the river or hang herself. I could bear it no longer, and I ran out of the ashram, leaving her alone. Before I left, I drew a magic circle around her and told her to stay within it. Had she done so, she would have been safe. Rama heard Lakshman and said, "You did wrong to have left her alone. You, who know me so well, must have realized that no harm could have befallen me, and yet you left her. Why did you do this?" In his extreme grief, Rama kept on repeating the same thing over and over. The ashram looked like a lotus pond in winter. The trees appeared to be weeping, and the flowers had faded. The birds gazed with dull eyes at Rama, seeming to have lost their voices. Rama ran from tree to tree and asked them if they had seen her. He ran all over, again and again, crying out, "O Lakshman, I cannot live without Sita. I cannot return to Ayodhya without her. What is a kingdom to me without her to share it? Go back, brother, and tell them that Rama is dead. I failed to protect her. She was my dear wife, and I could not save her. What is the use of living?" His whole body on fire and his mind consumed with grief, Rama could not sit or stand. Lakshman had never seen him like this, and he spoke gently to him. "My dear brother, please don't give way to grief like this. The forest is large, and there are many places where she could have been hidden by someone. Perhaps in some cave. Let us go and search for her inch by inch. Rouse yourself from this despondency and let's go." Rama tried to control himself and with superhuman effort accompanied Lakshman, and they began their search. Lakshman comforted him by saying that she could not have gone far, since he had just left the ashram. Of course, he could not know that she had been abducted in an aerial vehicle. They searched all places, but they couldn't find her. Rama was spent with sorrow and fatigue. He sank to the ground. He sank to the ground and did not speak for an hour. Lakshman did not know what to do with him. He tried his best to revive him, but it was of no use. Lakshman pleaded with him, as Krishna had once pleaded with Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, begging him to shake off his grief, but it was all in vain. "Come, my dear brother, abandon this grief and arise. Victory belongs only to the brave. Only those who keep trying will achieve their goal. Arise, and let us go and search again." But his words fell on deaf ears. Rama was sunk in gloom and did not even hear him. Then Lakshman noticed that the deer appeared to be running towards the south and running back again. Look, look, Rama, he said. These deer are trying to tell us something. I think she must have been taken away in a southerly direction. Let us also go that way. Thus saying, he encouraged his brother, and the two of them slowly walked towards the south, examining the ground as they went. Lakshman pointed out to Rama the large furrows made on the soft ground by Ravana's huge feet, and the footprints of Sita as she ran here and there, trying to escape his grasp. Rama could not contain himself at these sights, but Lakshman went further and showed him the broken bow and the quiver and the crushed chariot. Rama cried out, "Look, who could be the owner of such a magnificent bow? Here is the white umbrella of a king. Which king would have dared to commit such a crime?" Lakshman, you are right. Do you remember what you told me when Kaikeyi ordered me to go to the forest? You said that I was too soft. You were perfectly right. Beware, Lakshman. From today on, I am a changed man. My kindliness and compassion will be cast aside, and I will be a most unforgiving and terrible opponent. I will make the three worlds empty of all creatures. Even fire and air will be burned up in the holocaust of my anger, and the gods will have to stand by and watch helplessly. Lakshman fell at his feet and begged him to desist from universal destruction. Rama, my beloved brother, you have always had only the good of the world in your mind. How can you give way to anger like this? How can you give in to your emotions like this? You are to set an example to others. If you give in to grief like this, how can an ordinary man control himself? Who is it who has never had any trouble? Even the history of our race shows that many of the kings had difficulties which they overcame. No one can escape his karma. You should not allow sorrow to gain supremacy over your mind. You have always been a god to me. Now, the god in you seems to be sleeping due to sorrow. Control your emotions and let your intellect rule your mind. Search for the one who has done you this wrong and punish him. That is your duty. Rama heard him out in silence. You are right, Lakshman. You must tell me what to do. I will follow your advice. My mind refuses to function. You must think for both of us. They went forwards and soon came to their dear friend Jatayu, who was hanging on to his life in the hope of seeing Rama before drawing his last breath. Jatayu was dying. Making a tremendous effort, he said, "Rama, don't waste your time here. My life, as well as your wife, have been taken by the Rakshasa king, Ravana. I tried to stop him and almost succeeded, but he cut me with his sword and sped away to the south with Sita in his arms. Go to his kingdom and you will surely find her." Rama Rama was overcome with sorrow to know that he was the cause of his friend's death. Rama knelt on the ground beside Jatayu and hugged him and wept. "O Lakshman," he said, "we have lost Sita, and now our poor friend is also dying. I'm sure there is no one in the whole world who is as unfortunate as I. Fate has pushed me into this deep pit of pain, and I know not how to get out of it." Rama sat beside the dying eagle, stroking him with his loving hands. Life was ebbing fast from his body. The bird, seeing Rama's unhappiness, made a tremendous effort and whispered, "Take heart, my child, for the time that he abducted her is called Vijaya, and it is certain that anything lost during that time will be found again. You will surely find Sita and kill Ravana, so please don't give in to grief. Now, I beg of you, hold me in your arms, for my last moment has come, and I will surely find release from this bondage of samsara if I am held in your holy hands." He could speak no more and died in Rama's arms, with Rama's eyes looking tenderly into his and giving him salvation. Rama was heartbroken and recalled to mind all the happy times they had spent with Jatayu. He told Lakshman, we must give him a fitting funeral. Collect some firewood. He died for my sake, and I shall cremate him with my own hands." Rama carried him tenderly in his arms to the banks of the river Godavari. Lakshman brought wood on which Rama placed the bird with great love. "O King of Birds," he said, "may you reach those heavenly regions which are reserved for those who have performed great austerities." So saying, Rama kindled the fire and recited the appropriate verses. After the cremation was over, the two princes purified themselves in the river and sadly proceeded on their way. The next chapter is called The Unhappy Track. The final meeting with Jatayu seemed to have put hope in Rama's heart. At least now he knew where Sita had been taken. It was up to him to find her. There appeared to be some reason for trying, at least. Lakshman was greatly relieved at Rama's change in attitude. They walked quickly southward, since Jatayu had been quite definite about the direction taken by Ravana, and it was a sad track. Usually, Sita would walk between them and ask 1,000 questions. There would be frequent stops to allow her to pluck flowers, or watch a deer or a bird. Rama could not speak at all, and Lakshman walked silently beside him. Both were absorbed in their own unhappy thoughts. They penetrated deeper and deeper into the dense forest inhabited by wolves and tigers. The darkness was deep and forbidding. They had to rest frequently on the way, since Lakshman had to hack a path for them. Lakshman sensed that there was some danger ahead and warned Rama to be alert. Soon they came upon an enormous figure of a Rakshasa who appeared to have no head. His mouth was in his stomach. He was glaring at them through his one eye, which was on his chest. He was licking his lips in anticipation of the approaching meal. He had arms as long as trees, and stretching them out, he caught them both and pulled them to the mouth on his stomach. Lakshman was stricken with fear and said, "Brother, please save yourself and go and look for Sita while this monster eats me up." Rama told him not to despair. Quick as a thought, Rama cut off his arm, and the monster fell to the ground. He asked them who they were. They told him their lineage. Upon hearing this, Kabanda, that was his name, became very happy and said, "I became a Rakshasa due to a curse of the Rishis. Once I was as handsome as the two of you, but I used to play pranks on the Rishis by taking on different forms in order to frighten them. At last, one day, I took on this monstrous form, and they cursed me that I would remain like this for the rest of my life. When I begged them to release me from the curse, they said that I would be released when Rama came to the forest and cut off my arms. And now you have come, Rama. I beg of you, release me from this dreadful curse, so that I can regain my old form." Rama said, "My wife has been abducted by a Rakshasa called Ravana. Could you tell us anything about him?" Kabanda said that he had lost his memory, but he also said there is one person who can help you to get your wife back, and his name is Sugriva. He is a monkey chief, and he is the brother of Bali. This Bali has driven him out of his kingdom, and at the moment Sugriva is living with 4 companions on another hill called Rishyamukha on the banks of Lake Pampa. He is brave and powerful, and he will be able to help you. Follow the path to the west. Soon you will reach Lake Pampa." So saying, after 2 days of journey, they reached Lake Pampa. They made their way to Shabari's ashram, situated alongside the lake. Shabari was a very old woman, bent and wrinkled with age. Her long matted grey hair fell almost to the ground. She had been awaiting Rama's arrival for many years. She bowed humbly before him and said, "My lord, the fruit of my austerities is now standing before my eyes. I am now certain to attain salvation. The rishis whom I served for many years have all gone to heaven. They asked me to wait here for your arrival. All these years I have been waiting for you." She went and brought her cherished store of fruit. She had tasted each berry and kept only those which were the most delicious. It is considered to be very bad manners to offer another person something which has been defiled by one's own mouth. But she was not aware of these rules. All she knew was that she should give only the best to her beloved Lord. Rama knew her heart, and much to Lakshman's astonishment, he sat and ate all the fruits which the old woman offered to him. She made him sit down, and squatting beside him, she took the fruits one by one and placed them lovingly in his mouth, while Lakshman watched, fascinated. Rama smiled reassuringly at him and continued to eat. After this, she begged him to give her permission to depart to another world. Rama said, "You are indeed a highly realized soul. May all your desires be granted. You will surely attain the world of the rishis, whom you served so faithfully." Hearing these words from Rama, she was very happy. She sat in a meditative pose and shed her body. Rama and Lakshman then walked along the sides of the lake, and they were amazed at the holiness of the spot. Soon they reached the banks of another lake. Rama was overcome with sorrow once again, and he sat down and asked Lakshman to go on and meet Sugriva, for he could go no further. Lakshman was surprised. "What is the matter now, brother?" he inquired. "The beauty of this place makes me ache for Sita. I cannot live without her. How she would have loved it here. I can have no peace until I am reunited with her. Please go on and meet Sugriva on my behalf. I will just sit here with the memories of my beloved wife. I am drowned in sorrow, and only Sita can comfort me, and she is far, far away. Lakshman, my whole body burns. I miss her large black eyes, her sweet voice, her caressing touch. How can I continue to live apart from her? Lakshman, I am consumed with worry about her. My life is in her keeping, and hers in mine. We cannot exist without each other. Everything about this place makes me long for her, and I am unable to bear this pain." Lakshman had thought that Rama had begun to get over his sorrow, but now he realized that it was not so. At last he said, "Rama, you have the courage of a lion. How can you give in to grief like this? Let us go on and find the one who stole Sita and punish him as he deserves to be punished. Moreover, don't you think that Sita will be waiting for you to go and rescue her? She will not expect you to sit here bemoaning your loss. Be firm and strong. The pain of separation becomes greater when you dwell on it. Abandon this grief and let us search for Sita. Come, brother, come, shed this sorrow and become your own self, firm and serene under all circumstances." Enthusiasm coupled with effort will get us anything we desire. Rama found great comfort in these words of Lakshman, and shaking off his despondency, he rallied himself and they proceeded to walk towards the mountain of Rishamukha with firm steps. Now we enter Book 4, Kishkinda Kanda, the Book of Kishkinda. And this is the book where Rama meets Hanuman. Sugriva was seated on one of the peaks of Rishamukha with his 4 ministers. He had been beaten so badly by his brother Bali that he lived in constant dread of his spies. He had chosen a point on one of the peaks from where he could view everything that went on within a distance of 10 miles. As soon as he saw the 2 handsome young men at the foot of the hill, he was consumed with anxiety, for he feared that they had been sent by Bali to kill him. Hanuman was his chief minister, and he tried his best to pacify his master. But Sugriva could not rest. Look, Hanuman, I can see the flash of swords at their waist. Go and meet Rama and Lakshman, who are approaching. Yes, we're back on. Thank you, Gusta. Sugriva is sitting on the peak of Rishamukha, and he's seeing Rama and Lakshman approach the hill. He's worried about them because he's thinking that Bali, his brother, has sent these two to kill him. He's asking Hanuman, the son of the wind, to go and meet them and ask what their intentions are. And Hanuman can change form at will and takes on the form of a brahmachari, literally one who is celibate. And he approaches Rama and Lakshman with sweet words. This was indeed a momentous meeting. Hanuman is known for his utter and selfless devotion to Rama. And this was the first time that they were meeting, and ever afterwards, Hanuman was Rama's slave. Hanuman approached them and said, "Tell me who you are. You appear to be hermits, but you are carrying weapons. I have been watching you for some time, and constantly you are seeming to be searching for something. But first, let me tell you who I am. I am Hanuman, the son of the wind god. I am one of the ministers of the Vanara, the monkey king, called Sugriva. Sugriva was thrown out of his kingdom by his brother Bali, and is now living in exile on this mountain. He desires to make friends with you and has sent me to find out your motive. I am actually a monkey, but I can assume any form I wish." Rama was thrilled when he heard the words of Hanuman. Turning to Lakshman, he said, "Lakshman, this Hanuman seems to be very sincere and well versed in the Vedas. He has come with the very project which we had in mind. That is, to make friends with Sugriva. Please talk to him and find out more. Lakshman said, "We have come here with the purpose of making friends with your master. We will be happy to do whatever you say." Hanuman was pleased with this answer and asked them the reason to come to that lonely region and why they wanted to make friends with Sugriva. Lakshman told their reason for coming. Rama was banished to the forest for a period of 14 years. His wife Sita also came with him, but she had been abducted by the Rakshasa king Ravana. "We have come to this place because we were told that your master Sugriva would be able to help us find her." Hanuman listened carefully to this story and said, "My master Sugriva has also had his fair share of problems. His wife was abducted by his brother, and he is now forced to live the life on this lonely mountain top. I will take you to him. I'm sure he will be able to help you. But these peaks are too steep for you to climb, so I will take you on my shoulders." With these words, Hanuman took the brothers with ease on his back and brought them to Sugriva. Sugriva was most relieved when he heard that they had not come from Bali, and did all that he could to make them welcome. Offering his hand to Rama, he said, "Come, let us form a bond of friendship between us, which nothing can break." Rama took his offered hand and embraced him happily. In the meantime, Hanuman had made a small fire and worshipped it with flowers. Rama and Sugriva went 3 times around the sacred fire and took an oath that they would remain friends forever. Rama swore to kill Bali and help Sugriva regain his kingdom. And Sugriva swore to help Rama regain his wife. Sugriva continued, "One day, not long ago, 5 of us were sitting on top of this peak when we saw a Rakshasa sailing across the sky with a beautiful woman in his arms. She was crying out, 'Oh Rama, oh Lakshman, I think it must have been your wife.' When she saw us, she tied up something in a cloth torn from her upper garment and dropped it to us. We have kept the bundle safe. Here it is." Rama turned pale when he saw the scrap of yellow cloth which he recognized to be Sita's. He opened it with trembling hands and almost fainted when he saw a few bits of her jewelry. Rama started to question Sugriva eagerly about everything he had seen on that day and what he knew about Ravana. Sugriva admitted sadly that he knew nothing about Ravana. All he had seen was a beautiful woman in great distress. He assured Rama that they would soon rescue her. "Be full of hope and courage. Please don't give way to your grief." Sugriva had a very affectionate nature. A friend considers the grief of his friend as his own, and I cannot bear to see you sorrow. Please rest assured that I will help you to recover your wife. Then he told Rama the full details of his own banishment. He explained how he got chased out of the kingdom and how his brother Bali kept his wife Rumi for himself. Oh Rama, I can never forget the pain and humiliation which my brother has caused me. So saying, Sugriva burst into tears. Rama comforted him and promised to kill Bali and get his kingdom back. Though he believed Rama, Sugriva had some doubt whether Rama could actually defeat Bali, for he knew his brother was very powerful, as strong as as 1,000 elephants. Lakshman was amused. He realized that Sugriva doubted that Rama could defeat Bali. He said to Sugriva, I see that you have doubts about Rama's abilities. Tell me what he can do to banish your doubts and restore your faith in him. Sugriva hung his head in shame. Please don't misunderstand me, he said. My fear of Bali is so great that I find it difficult to accept that someone so slim and handsome as Rama can beat him. Turning to Rama, he said, please don't think I'm trying to test you, or that I'm trying to insult you by asking you to display your abilities. But I don't want you to meet Bali until I'm sure that you can actually beat him. Rama smiled reassuringly at him and said, your doubts are quite understandable. I'll try to convince you. Fixing an arrow on his bow, he shot it. The arrow sped like a golden streak, and piercing 7 trees, it fell to the earth, along with the trees which were all split into 2 by Rama's arrow. All monkeys were thrilled when they saw this and jumped up and down with excitement. Sugriva's doubts had been relieved, and he rushed to embrace Rama. Let us go immediately to Kishkinda and kill Bali, he said. Rama agreed. He asked Sugriva to go and challenge Bali to a fight. He promised to conceal himself and kill Bali when the opportunity arose. Rama, Lakshman and Hanuman stood behind the bushes while Sugriva bellowed his war cry and strode forth like a lion in front of the city gates. Bali couldn't believe his ears. Sugriva had been a thorn in his side for many years, and it was time he made an end of it. That way he could keep his sister-in-law Ruma without any feeling of guilt. He knew the laws, and he knew that he had done a despicable thing in being with the wife of his younger brother. He had somehow stifled his conscience all the while with all kinds of justifications, but if Sugriva were dead, he would have a real good excuse for keeping her. It was accepted for a man to marry the widow of his dead brother in order to protect her. He was about to rush out of the gate when his own wife, Tara, stopped him. She said, "Please don't go to fight with your brother now. How can he dare to come unless he is being helped by someone? Our son Angada told me his spies had found out that Rama and Lakshman, the sons of King Dasarath, are here in the area. And they've made friends with Sugriva and agreed to help him. I have heard that Rama is a most noble person and a great warrior. If he is helping your brother, you have no chance of victory. Remember that you have done Sugriva a great injustice by throwing him out of the kingdom for no fault of his own and being with his wife. Please go and make friends with him. After all, you are the elder brother, and it is for you to set an example. Please take my advice and do not make an enemy of Rama, for I feel very frightened for you." However, her plea fell on deaf ears. Tara embraced her husband and prayed for his safety. Bali then rushed out with a roar, and the brothers locked themselves in a fierce combat. Sugriva fought with all his might, and for some time the only sounds to be heard were grunts and groans. Rama was watching the fight closely. Perhaps he hoped that Sugriva would manage to defeat Bali by himself, but soon he saw that his friend was weakening and looking around desperately for help. Rama knew that the time had come for him to do what he did not want to do, but which was unavoidable if he wanted to keep his promise to his friend. He fixed the arrow to the bow and let it go. It flashed forwards and hit the mighty Bali. Bali lay on the ground, drenched in blood. Rama and Lakshman came out of the bushes and walked towards the fallen hero. This is where I'm going to end tonight, and tomorrow I'm going to continue the story of the search for Sita and how Hanuman and the monkey army can be of help there. Oh, I'm just remembering, tomorrow we're going to skip actually one evening, because tomorrow I will be in Amsterdam to teach Hatha Yoga. So we will see each other again on Wednesday evening. So very important, don't forget, tomorrow evening there is no reading of the Ramayana. You can maybe listen back again one of the episodes, and then on Wednesday evening at 9 o'clock I will continue. So you have to wait a little bit. Ayodhya Raja Sri Ram Dasratha Nandan Sri Ram Patita Pavana Janaki Vallabha Sita Mohana Ram Ayodhya Radha Shri Ram, Dasratha Nandan Shri Ram, Patita Pavana Janaki Vallabha Sita Mohana Ram. Bolo Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Bolo Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jai Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Jai Sita Ram, Sitaram, Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram, 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 Jaya Sitaram. Bolo Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Sitaram, Sitaram, Jai Sitaram, 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 Jai Sitaram, 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 Jaya Sitaram, 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 Jaya Sitaram. So despite some obstacles, we made it again through, and we will see each other again on Wednesday evening at 9 o'clock. Ram Ram.